It's an ordinary day in British politics, or so it seems. But beneath the surface of Westminster's polished facades lies a storm brewing, one that threatens to engulf Labour's leadership in scandal. Sir Keir Starmer and Shabana Mahmood, two of the party's most prominent figures, have found themselves at the epicentre of a shocking new controversy. The constituencies they represent, Holborn and St Pancras and Birmingham Ladywood, have been revealed as two of the most crime-ridden areas in the entire country. The numbers are jaw-dropping, the implications devastating, and the question on everyone's lips is simple. How did it come to this? The data, meticulously compiled by Crime Spotlight UK, paints a grim picture. In Birmingham Ladywood, an astonishing 38,111 crimes were recorded over the past year. That's more than 100 crimes every single day. The breakdown is equally horrifying. Violence and sexual offences accounted for over 13,000 of these incidents, and vehicle crime was alarmingly high at 3,403 cases. Meanwhile, Sir Keir Starmer's own Holborn and St Pancras constituency isn't far behind, with 36,090 crimes logged in the same period. Theft from the person, a staggering 7,309 cases, has become almost commonplace, and the constituency ranks second for other forms of theft at 6,169 offences. It's clear that crime has reached epidemic levels, and both MPs are under fire for failing to stem the tide. To make matters worse, the crime wave doesn't stop with Starmer and Mahmood. The constituency topping the list, the cities of London and Westminster, held by Labour MP Rachel Blake, recorded a jaw-dropping 89,446 crimes in the past year. That's nearly 250 crimes every single day, ranging from shoplifting and burglary to robbery and public order breaches. For Labour, these revelations are a public relations nightmare. How can a party claim to be tough on crime when its own constituencies are crime epicentres? The hypocrisy is palpable, and critics are not holding back. Dr. Lawrence Newport, a legal academic working with Crime Spotlight, didn't mince words when discussing the findings. Our politicians are surrounded by crime. It's everywhere in their constituencies, yet they've failed to act. If they can't clean up their own backyards, how can they be trusted to fix the country's crime problem? His scathing assessment has struck a chord with the public, and the backlash is mounting. Social media is awash with outrage, with voters demanding answers from their elected representatives. For Starmer, who has represented Holborn and St Pancras since 2015, the timing couldn't be worse. As the leader of the opposition, he has staked much of his political credibility on the promise of a safer, more secure Britain. But the reality in his constituency tells a very different story. It's a grim reminder of just how precarious Labour's position has become, and the scandals don't end there. As the crime statistics send shockwaves through Westminster, former Prime Minister Boris Johnson has launched a blistering attack on Starmer, accusing him of siding with Hamas in an international row over Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The controversy erupted after Starmer appeared to back the International Criminal Court's decision to issue an arrest warrant for Netanyahu, a move that has divided opinion both at home and abroad. Johnson, never one to shy away from controversy, seized the opportunity to go on the offensive. In his weekly column, Johnson lambasted Starmer, accusing him of standing with Hamas and undermining Israel's position. He described the ICC's decision as patently absurd and argued that it was treating Netanyahu as though he were a war criminal on par with the butchers of the Balkans. Johnson's words were incendiary, but they reflected a broader sentiment among critics who view the ICC's actions as politically motivated and deeply flawed. For Starmer, the accusations are a major headache. Labour has long struggled to navigate its stance on Israel, and Johnson's remarks have only added fuel to the fire. The fallout has been swift. Starmer has faced mounting pressure from within his own party, with former Shadow Attorney General Emily Thornberry openly supporting the ICC's ruling and calling for Netanyahu's arrest if he sets foot in the UK. Thornberry's stance has further exposed divisions within Labour, as some MPs have sided with her, while others have echoed Johnson's criticisms. The issue has also drawn international attention, with US President Joe Biden dismissing the ICC's decision as outrageous and reiterating America's unwavering support for Israel. As the controversy deepens, Starmer's leadership is once again being called into question. Is he strong enough to weather the storm, or will this latest scandal prove to be his undoing? And yet, even as Starmer grapples with the twin crises of crime and foreign policy, another scandal is unfolding, this time in the realm of industry. Labour's push for eco-friendly policies has sparked outrage within the steel sector, as it was revealed that the Ministry of Defence is importing woke, eco-friendly steel instead of buying British. The revelation has sent shockwaves through the industry, with critics accusing the government of prioritising environmental goals over the livelihoods of British workers. Reform UK's deputy leader Richard Tice was quick to condemn the move, branding it net zero wokery and demanding an explanation from ministers. The controversy centres on the transition of the Port Talbot steelworks to electric arc furnaces, a move that has raised fears of job losses and a decline in domestic steel production. With the UK increasingly relying on foreign imports, the implications for national security and economic stability are profound. Tice didn't hold back, insisting that the government should buy British to support homegrown industries. Net zero wokery has led to the loss of business and jobs, he said, capturing the frustration of many within the industry. For Labour, the timing couldn't be worse. The party has sought to position itself as a champion of British workers, but the steel scandal risks undermining that narrative. As job losses loom and public anger grows, questions are being asked about the viability of Labour's green agenda. Is the party sacrificing jobs and industry on the altar of environmentalism? The answer, it seems, depends on who you ask. The government, for its part, has defended its approach, insisting that the transition to greener technologies is essential for meeting climate targets. An MOD spokesperson emphasised the importance of British steel in defence projects, including the Royal Navy's new submarines, but acknowledged that imports would be necessary during the transition period. Yet for critics like Tice, these reassurances ring hollow. The sense of betrayal is palpable, and the steel industry's fury shows no signs of abating. As the scandals pile up, Labour finds itself under siege on multiple fronts. Starmer's leadership is being tested like never before, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The crime wave in his own constituency, the international backlash over his stance on Israel, and the fury of Britain's steelworkers are converging into a perfect storm. For a party that hopes to win the next general election, these scandals are more than just political setbacks, they are existential threats. The question now is whether Starmer and his allies can regain control of the narrative, or if these scandals will prove to be their undoing. With voters increasingly disillusioned and opponents sensing blood in the water, the coming weeks could determine the future of Labour's leadership and its place in British politics. One thing is certain, the drama is far from over. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned.